we've got that warrior spirit coming through. If you try to run and hide, it's not going to go well, I don't think. Let's get into it. Michelle from Angel Souls. This is your weekly auto write and angel card reading for the week beginning February 26th, 2018. Let me explain this. Okay. I woke up this morning and I just felt this like kind of like Mars going through your sign kind of feeling, like grr, not even like I wouldn't say it was a bad mood, just very focused and passionate. And I'm like, what in the world is happening today? So I sat down I started doing the auto write and I was like, okay, I've said this before in previous videos. A lot of times when I'm getting ready to record, they'll get me prepped by putting things in front of me. And I think that's just to help me understand that way when I do the message, I can, you know, I have some experience with it and so I can pass it along. It's been going on for years and years and years. I'm used to it now. But hopefully after I get this recording, get the message out there, I can have a little calmer day. All right, so let's get into it here. The first word is feast, exclamation point. For there are many turns of events. Feast. So that almost makes me feel like you're celebrating, okay? Like something happens. And this does feel like it's on a worldwide stage where it might be some policy reversals or, I don't know. It could be a breakthrough. I do kind of have that energy. I didn't feel that as a distinct, clear message, but like I said, there's that energy there where it's sort of like, oh, finally you heard us. Oh, finally we get to do this. But it's not going to be without some sparks and some distortion, but let's get into it. So, for there are many turns of events. Not all will enjoy this. And let me read the rest of it and we'll come back to it because I remember the feeling coming through with that. So I'll give it to you here in a second. If you have lived by the rules, you will feel betrayed perhaps. Or others, for others, the changes mark a time of relief. Debt goes away. Now that means energetic debt as well. And of course, not for every single person out there. You can only know this by getting a personal reading. But, you know, we start to see through what we've always held as truth. All right, so I'm not even going to say the veil falls. The veil starts to dissipate. It starts to just kind of wear away, and we see the truth of a situation, which is lovely. Okay, now, so when we go back to not all will enjoy this, we are in a society where I've been reading a lot of books on like spirituality and finances. Greg Braden, you guys know I love Greg Braden, and I've been reading his new book. I think it's Human by Design. I think that's what it's called. And he's bringing forward some different evidence, for example, for the theory of evolution. And it's compelling and it's amazing and it's a great read. I highly recommend it. But really, essentially what both, you know, like the spirituality and finances kind of area is talking about, and what I think Greg Braden is talking about or trying to bring to our attention is we just, if enough people say it, we take it as fact, right? And it can go on for a very long time. This is where we get into these stuck paradigms. So this is that week where some people, I feel like it's going to be a small group of people. I don't know if this is going to be attached to any one movement necessarily, but a small group of people try to release the truth. Now, I know some of you out there watching, you might hear the truth and we think disclosure. We start thinking, you know, the government is going to reveal blah, 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 blah. It maybe, that'd be kind of cool. But if that doesn't happen, don't be shocked. But this feels like it might even be on more of a personal level, okay? Where we'll get into it a little bit more here. This is going to be a long message because there are a lot of little intricacies to give with this message. So the people who are going to have a hard time with this, these are the people that are so, I hate to say this, but they're so asleep. Go on Facebook, you'll see them, okay? They're the people touting about certain political issues that I'm not going to bring up here because I don't, it's not the platform for that. Or they're, you know, getting upset that a certain group is trying to have a voice and they want to, you know, well, when I was growing up, it was like this. Because they find that personally threatening because it perhaps threatens their nostalgia, if that makes sense. And their connections to their childhood, or it makes them question how they were raised. And people don't like that. All right. Now, also, notice they say people who followed the rules somehow get upset. I'm going to give you a quick story here just to illustrate what I'm talking about. I went in to talk to a financial advisor about, you know, this account that I had and making, you know, putting my money where it'll do the most good for me. And this gentleman, I think was flirting with me. This is important in the story because it was kind of weird. I don't know if he was trying to like come off as like super manly or what his deal was. It was a strange moment. But I'm sitting there and he started talking about all these things. Like, first of all, making me feel guilty because I do have debt right now. Well, I have debt because I bought 2 cameras. I have a lighting setup here that's, you know, over $1,000. I'd have to sit down and calculate up all the stuff I've had to purchase over the years. I mean, I'm in my studio right now. If you could see it, it's a mess. Okay. Number one, but there's just all this stuff in here. So, yeah, it's debt and that's not the greatest thing, but it's like an investment debt, right? So, and I run my own business. This dude depends on somebody's, you know, approval to get a paycheck. And anyway, so he's sitting across from me and he's kind of judging me. And at one point, he even went so far as to, like I said, he was making me feel guilty, but he even went so far. He said something like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your investment risk? What would you like it to be? And I said, let's do 7 or 8. Like, and he scoffed at me and said, I said 1 to 5. Now, me as a woman sitting across the table from this man who looks like he might be, I'm not going to lie, he looks like he could be like ex-military or something. Like, he's pretty stern, like buff, like, you know, and he kind of had that way about him. I don't know. But anyway, he looked tough. Let's put it that way. I immediately shied off and I went, oh, I thought you said 1 to 10. And then he goes, no, I didn't. He was so condescending. So he's making me feel guilty about this debt and about what he thinks my spending habits are. Dude, the stuff I buy is investment, the stuff to invest in my business and in my future. It's not like I don't get to do many fun things with my money. But, and then that was just kind of like the final straw for me, because then it became in this male-female dynamic as well. And as soon as I kind of backed off and was like, oh, I thought you said, and he scoffed at me again, I thought, no, you didn't. You said 1 to, you're wrong. Okay, so I don't like getting into that energy because then what happened? I went into this, no, I'm right. But what I had in front of me, this is exactly, I think, illustrating the message for this week. So we have someone on this end who is taking a risk, trying to do something for their life, trying to do good in the world. And then we have somebody who is, quote unquote, following the rules. He probably went to school, got a degree, did his internships, got to be a financial advisor. Good for you. But now we're going to find that something is overturning. So you might have spent all this time marching to what you thought was the right drum, just to find that actually you could have enjoyed your life a little bit more. You could have taken more risks. It did you no good, really, to follow the rules, okay? And the reason why I give that example of that guy sitting across from me is he just, first of all, he popped in my head, and I trust the examples as they pop up. But in that scenario, I could see somebody like him realizing that his house is suddenly worth less. I was online checking my email, and there was something on the side that said something like the housing market just dropped. I didn't read it. but I did glimpse that. So, I mean, perfect example. That's not a prediction, that's in the news. But, it could be like he worked so hard to be so right and all of his investments go away. Or he tried so hard and worked so hard and now his house isn't worth anything. It's that kind of thing. Okay, I'm sorry for the long explanation, but I felt like that was important. Like I said, they put it in my head, so I'm going to give it to you. All right, there will be fighting, and it is the distortion between moving forward and hanging on to the past. So again, that's everything that we were just talking about. Okay. You will fight the many, those who have felt small. So they're saying, those of you out there who felt like you've lived on the margins, you've always been sort of oppressed for how you felt. They're using the word fight, but that doesn't mean like get aggressive, get out there and scream in the streets. This means within yourself, you're standing up and you're taking that sort of warrior stance, and you're no longer allowing people to tell you that you are not allowed to speak or that you are not allowed to have your opinion. You guys know, if you follow me, one of the things that I get the biggest negativity about is because I speak up. Now, that was not typically my behavior pretty much for my whole life, because I was always told to be quiet. I was always told I was wrong. I, was really kind of food for other people. And when I stand up to people, especially being on the internet, and I set a boundary, especially spiritual people who, I want to do this, spiritual, don't get me started. They will come out, they'll stick their nose in, and they'll be like, you don't have a right to say that to people. You don't have a right to stand up for yourself, which is essentially what they're getting at. This is all part of that conditioned thinking. Okay, and this is part of following the rules. It even goes into spirituality, because if you come in and you're following the rules of a faith, but you're being inauthentic, or you're being cruel to others who are just trying to set a boundary and protect themselves, okay, and you want to put all kinds of meaning on that and belittle them for doing that, you see how this is not good energy? You see how that's not helping anything? You see how we're all going to be mad at each other and like, rah, 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 rah. Okay, right? Okay, so the people who have perhaps in the past felt oppressed, you're going to start, I don't mean to make it sound like a power game, because it's not it. But you're finding your voice and you're coming on out. And when people say, you're not supposed to, you can be like, stop. That's okay. You can do that. Stop. You can also ask for clarification. Do not be afraid to do this. I just did this last week on Facebook. Someone left a comment, and part of it was a little like, what do you say? Like, excuse me? And so I just wrote and I asked, like, did you mean to say that? I don't think you did, but that's kind of how it came off. Is that, what are we doing here? And then like a few days later, somebody out of left field who had nothing to do with this conversation just came in and he said, tried to stand up for this other person as if I had like victimized this person by asking them what they meant. This is the kind of thing, like, start getting awakened to that. Start kind of noticing how we sort of slyly take jabs at each other. All right. How do we do this under the radar? Because this, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this and I do apologize, but we got to talk about this because no one is, okay? Because, we've gotten into this culture of, you heard me talk about this before, like, get over the constructive criticism. It's not constructive if you're being nasty, okay? It's just not. But we have conditioned ourselves, and we've, it's like a societal standard to just let that go. You're somehow a big person if you can take someone's critique, okay? 90% of the time, people who are criticizing each other, they're just doing it to knock that person's energy down so that they can feel bigger, okay? Start waking up to this. Start looking at it, okay? I could go on and on for that because, again, I'm a prime example of trying to hold strong and get people to see it. I don't know if I'm succeeding, but anyway. Let's see. You will fight the many, those who have felt small. So we talked about that. Conditioning unravels. That's what we were just talking about. But wait for the energy that flies, as anger seeps and fury may ravage. So people are getting, it's everything we were already talking about. So people are starting to see what it feels like. It feels like people are starting to realize they've been duped. They're starting to realize, I believed in something that wasn't there. And I'm not talking about religious faith. I'm talking like I believed in the banking system. I believed that this truly was, I just got chills as I said banking system. just so you know. I thought I was doing it right by telling people to get over it. You know, whatever level you want to take this to, it's going to make you mad. Some of you. Now, so others who have a really, you know, open mind and open heart, you truly are in the frequency of compassion and gratitude. And, you know, when you look at somebody who is maybe having a meltdown, you don't judge them for it. You know, like, you feel for them, you know, without taking it on yourself, but understanding that, you know, they deserve love, right? Okay, so I got to go back into my chicken scratching here. My goodness. In this, you must be witness only. All right, so when people are freaking out, you might have people in your family who have always said, oh, you should do this, you should do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know what it is exactly, but something is a turnabout. Like something starts unraveling and now they're the ones that are in trouble. And you're the one they're reaching to for some help or some guidance or, you know, something like that. But only be witness. So again, it goes back to that idea of having compassion for somebody without taking it on yourself. Okay, sorry, I have like a eyelash or a hair or something on my face. It's tickling me. You know these times were to come, and what you see now is only the beginning. The turnabouts are driving the future. Big entities that operate from greed will see that they have been exposed. This will not be in the way you might expect, but discussions behind corporate doors will be abuzz with chatter on what to do next. So we may not see it in this next week. Maybe we will. I hope we kind of do. And that's kind of a free will decision. That would be some souls kind of on the ready to break this open. Those are the whistleblowers. Okay. My soul and my soul path would be a little bit, it's reflector, and I kind of am in that whistleblower category as well. And we often, you know how that goes anyway. But there's going to be a lot of chatter behind closed doors. It's just really going to be up to these whistleblowers if they're going to take on their soul's mission, can I put it that way, or their soul's purpose, to go ahead and talk about it. If they don't, just know that it's happening, and some places are running scared. They're running scared. Be aware of new schemes. I told you guys, it's like a lot. New schemes. You've heard me talk a lot about cluster B personality disorders. I am not a mental health care professional. I have to say that every time I talk about this stuff. This is just observation only. I would encourage you to do your own research or check with a professional if you want to go further into this. Boom, done. Disclaimer, done. All right. But like, for example, sociopaths and even a lot of narcissists, I think sometimes what they do is they study patterns. They don't have any of their authentic self that's really coming out. They study what everybody else is doing. Okay, so we might expose all these patterns and we might get into a new way of thinking where it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should stop trying to silence each other when we're just, you know, trying to set a boundary, or maybe should mind our own businesses sometimes. Or conversely, right? This is about gauging. It's about really knowing when to step in, or learning to start speaking up more. Okay, I just heard this. I don't want to put this in the reading, but so I'll tiptoe around it. I just heard about this story of this woman that had something happen to her back in the 60s in New York City. And the reason why it happened to her was because nobody wanted to get involved. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff we need to start cracking open. All right, but once we do that, what ends up happening is these entities that are coming in and working through certain people, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they have a personality disorder or anything like that, but sociopaths are kind of a good example, because again, they're going to notice, oh, people are thinking differently. They're thinking differently now. I better change how I do things. And so they're going to study you. That's why they're saying watch for new schemes. Bitcoin comes to mind, right? So Bitcoin is now, it's still volatile, of course, but it's gathering momentum. And we might see more people figuring out a way to try to mess people over. Okay, Bitcoin is not a physical coin. Just so you know, is anybody trying to sell you a physical coin? It's not. That's not what it is. All right. So step away from those who want to only entrap you. That's exactly what we were just talking about through studying how people are becoming, so that they can work that system next. This is through judgment to reactions, talked about that, which has kept many silent for far too long and allowed even children to be hurt and victimized. Okay, this whole paradigm, conditioning, whatever you want to call it, of, oh, I'm not going to get involved. Or, oh my gosh, you know, I don't know. It could go all over the place. We could sit here and talk hours on this. But, you know, part of, I'm sorry to bring it up, but like the whole Hollywood thing. People have been saying for a long time that children are being victimized within that community. I brought up in another video, if you don't even want to talk about sexual harassment or, you know, being victimized in a sexual way, if you notice, TV shows and movies sometimes will have an actual baby in a scene where the actors are screaming at one another and the baby is wailing. That baby is terrified because they're not in a place where they can differentiate between what's real and what's not. This is all real to them. They're having a very real traumatic response to that. Okay, so that's another way that, you know, what we see as entertainment, the entertainment industry, that's how they kind of harm children. Anyway, point is that when we stay silent, things continue. When people say, oh, I am so glad I'm out of that relationship. He moved on to someone else. Now he's someone else's problem. And they know perhaps that ex-boyfriend is abusive. And they're taking this thought of, let it just happen to someone else. No. It's another part of what I feel is my path that people have such a problem with. I don't know why. Leave it be, you know? But when someone says something or does something that's not very nice, and I go, stop. And in that way, I kind of call out what I see. I'm not going to change that person. I'm aware of that. Okay? But that person has gone on in that way because we have this conditioned mindset. Oh, just don't give them your energy. And that's true to some extent. Okay? But I think the trick here, if there's a trick behind this, is to observe, recognize it, speak up, and then disconnect from it. Okay? Which is what I typically do. I don't know if I'm a master of it by any stretch of the imagination, but I try. And again, you're not going to change that person, but they might just think twice before they do it to someone else. Okay? So this whole attitude of let them be someone else's problem, that's not acceptable. You need to speak up. Okay. Where the heck were we? People have struggled for answers, but have come up short. It is because you do not fully understand all the situation. But you will, with love, end. And what they're saying too is, you know, you can only react with the best information that you have, but there's more information to come. And if you have a closed mind and a closed heart and you're not willing to grow, you're going to be in trouble. Okay? This world isn't going to fit you anymore. So just remember that. All right. Whew, that was a lot. Let's get on to the cards. All right, guys. So we're going to get into the card portion, but before I do that, please remember that these are general readings. The only way that you can know how to move forward and get guidance for you is for you to get a personal reading. So you can go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services page. That's how you get a reading. It still goes on. Like I've been at this in this business for 5 years. People still ask how to get a reading. Well, that's how. All right. Support on Patreon, so appreciated. All that information will be down below. Please go check out my Gumroad page. I have a lot of courses up there. I've been just adding and adding and adding. There's something for everyone. So get on over there and check it out. Again, information is down below. Now, I might regret showing this to you guys, but I feel like maybe this is an opportunity for a cautionary tale. If you have ever gotten a personal reading with me, I always say light a candle if you can do so safely. Okay, why is that? Oh, and if you guys get freaky, I'll handle it. Don't even worry about it. Those people who want to get freaky with me, I'll handle it. Do you see that? What happened, Michelle? What happened? It burned. It wasn't a candle. It's just the box. Okay. Oh my goodness. I had a stick of incense in an incense holder. Okay. And I think I even had it on like a long plate. So I had like a long plate, the holder, because I get so annoyed like having to clean up ash. And the thing burned down, somehow flipped out, it like rolled off, and this was sitting right there, and all I saw was smoke coming up. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm sitting like, I'm sorry, Archangel Michael, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he's like, they're just cards. And I want to drive that home too. These are just paper and cardboard until you do something with them. So everybody calm down, okay? Including me. Anyway, so that's the Archangel Michael Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. color card from the Inner Skull deck, crystal card from the Rochelle Sharman deck. And I'm just clearing them out. So let's see what else we have going on. Notice because of the warrior energy, when I was picking out a deck, I have, gosh, I don't even know now, probably, I did a clean of all my decks. So maybe I only have about 100 decks now, maybe. I don't know. I have to recount them. Roughly 50 to 100. That's a wide range, but whatever. But when I pick out a deck for the week, you know, I just let myself be guided. I went right to this deck. I mean, there was no question. So this one was sticking out. Ask Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. So Michael can help you with clarity, with courage, with finding your voice, speaking your truth, being who you are, whether it's okay with somebody else or not. Okay? You do not need, I mean, growing, developing, all that's wonderful. But when somebody's just like, I just don't like who you are and you need to change to please me. Nope. Nope. All right. Oh, you see that? Admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly. This so goes into that auto write message. Time to admit the truth, even if it hurts. Okay? Might find that the laws that we have in place, they just can't be there anymore. Or there needs to be changes or whatever. Remember when women were fighting for the right to vote, I'm sorry, 1920s, that's too recent. That is too recent, don't get me started. But, you know, women were getting death threats because they wanted to vote. They wanted to have a voice. I mean, I think it's going to be that kind of level of change that's going to be sparking for us right now. Okay? All right. Next one. Write about your thoughts and feelings. Okay, so that'll be a way of kind of getting all the feelings out. Oh, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. I love this card. I do want to let you know, if you don't follow me on Facebook, that I have started, as of February 21st, 2018, a little 12-week awareness time, okay? And it's the Angel Souls Love Awareness movement, okay? Where we're showing ourselves self-love, we're taking care of ourselves, and we're sending love out into the world. So if you want to check that out, make sure you get over to my Facebook page. There's actually a group there that you are more than welcome to join. All right. So, and spread the word. Share these videos, share the Facebook page, all the good stuff. All right. So the first card we have is ask Archangel Michael to help you with the situation. Archangel Michael, thank you for assisting me with, you insert your situation. Please help me be filled with faith and peace at all times. This is going to rattle us, guys. This could be a week. Maybe it's good though. For the most part, I do feel like, however people maybe perceive it as rattling, let me feel this out. It's going to be a very split kind of reaction. And I don't want to say necessarily that this is like political parties. I think, speaking your truth, and I'm choking. I don't think this is about politics necessarily. I think it's about issues that might have to go into politics, but you might find yourself kind of stuck in the middle and not really sure, like, oh gosh, what side of the argument do I fall on with this? But the question is, do you have to be a part of the argument, or can you just be witness to it? Make sense? But asking Archangel Michael to help you get clarity, to help you see what is true. See what is true. Because remember, the whole big umbrella message of that auto write was like, you've been fooled. You have been duped. We've been duping each other with our responses to one another. We have dishonored one another in that way. It's time to love and support, okay? So you'll see the truth of a situation. You can work with Archangel Michael to help you with that. Ask Archangel Michael to help you with the situation. Goes right into this, so they're very connected. Admit the truth to yourself and act accordingly. I appreciate your support in helping me face my feelings with grace and acceptance so that I can be lovingly honest with myself and others. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for giving me courage and strength. I'm telling you guys, something's popping and a fizzing this week. Now, you as an individual, you might be having like yippee skippy time and you know what I mean? You know, I've said before, remember, these are general readings. These are general readings, okay? So the only way to know what's going to be coming up for you and what you need to work on is to get a personal reading. But this here, your belief system. Again, I don't know that's necessarily about religion. It's more about, like, again, that paradigm, whatever the conditioning that you've lived under, you're going to really start to question that, which is good, Okay, so write about your thoughts and feelings. Thank you for helping me tap into my God-given creativity and wisdom so I clearly express myself and glean insight, blessing, and healing. So they're giving you a tool to use in order to get your feelings out. That way you're not aiming it at someone, especially if you're a parent. Do not take it out on your kids, man. They're sensitive. They're way more sensitive than you are. And, you know, it does kind of get me riled when people get like, well, okay, listen, hey, yo, have I run across frustrating kids? Yes, I have. But I'm talking about parents who just see their kids as burdens. Your kids are a gift. All right. And we need to do a little bit more to protect them. And protect their emotions. All right. So then we have your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. Please help me clearly hear, see, feel, and know the divine guidance that I have asked and prayed for. Allow me to keep my ego out of the way so your wisdom can come streaming through me for my own benefit and for those around me. Again, I love this card. You guys have heard me say before with Adoring Virtue decks, like it just seems like now with all the growth that we've gone through, some of the wording seems a little dated, which is weird because they didn't come up that long ago. It's not like they're, 60, 70 years old. This is fairly recently, but I think it's just the track that we're on, which is amazing. And they were good to help people get to where we are now. But I really like this Archangel Michael deck. I think it still holds strong. It still holds true. Great stuff. So this is all about trusting. Oh, look at that. We're talking about write down your thoughts. And she has like this little journal. Can you see that? Well, you'll see it in the B-roll. She has that little journal in her hands. So a lot of insight coming when you write things down. Now, if you're not big on journaling, you can always do a vlog. I'm thinking of that TV show, Grace and Frankie, where I don't remember what season it was, but Grace tries to do a little vlog journal type thing. And the first one she does, something comes out of her subconscious and she's completely shocked and she has a breakthrough. So you could do it that way as well. You could talk to a camera. You could talk your feelings out. Okay, so I'm going to do color cards next. Let's do that. Just knocking on them to clear them out. It's got to be like a teal color. I only say that because teal has been up in my face. Like my journal is teal. My pen was teal. Teal or aqua turquoise. One of those kind of like greenish blue colors. Anyway, let's see what we got going on here. There it is. Oh, okay, sorry. I was really off. Okay, so Pearl, connect to the divine. The number is 25. So we might go through our tantrum moments. I kind of had one this morning. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I had a heart-to-heart with God. What is this? Like there's just some things popping up in my world right now that I'm just, and I've kind of grown tired of my circumstances. I've grown tired of, certain things. And I'm like, come on. What's your deal here? You can have a heart-to-heart with God like that. Okay? I think God understands. I mean, God, okay, let me put it this way. Certain people's God would smite you. Is that the word? For having that kind of moment. But sometimes, especially when you're doing the process of you're almost getting to the next level, sometimes you have to purge all that. That's where that journaling comes in. Or you can pray. You can have a talk with God, like I said. And just, if you have to get angry and say, listen, this is happening, okay? Let it out. Let it out. Do not listen to people who say you're not allowed to ever show your shadow side, or you're not ever allowed to be fearful. We encourage you not, because, their law of attraction is a thing, okay? You just don't want to swim there and live there, right? But to sidestep, no. To just be, again, speaking of sidestepping, we're talking this whole message about not being supportive of one another. When I post things and people are like, oh, don't let it bother you. Just focus on, Oh. We need to honor each other a little bit more. Now, connect to the divine is also connection to one another. Okay, so it's us having our personal connection, having our talk with God, like I was saying, if you have negative emotions, letting those out, and then restoring your connection And I mean, I don't know how often you guys, leave it in the comments down below. How often do you have a little meltdown with God? How often does that, or source, creator, the universe, whatever, however you believe? Let me know, because I'd be curious. And when you have those heart-to-hearts and what happens afterwards, I always find them to be very cleansing and cathartic. But yeah, so you're going to be connecting in that way, and then you're going to be connecting to the divine through one another. Does that make sense? So being supportive, it's all about really amping up your body to be an alert system. Okay, so you can pinpoint who's got a little bit of darkness in them and who's just in pain, you know? Anyway, all right, where are we going? Okay, crystal cards. Sorry. If you're wondering why I keep looking that way, I don't know. The mountain is right there, and when things start to feel kind of like they're pushing through me, it's kind of nice to look over and see that. So anyway, there we go. Red jasper, healthy boundaries. Boom! Boom! Who's a reader who knows what she's talking about? Me! See? That's called an ego pursuit. I would not do as I do. Okay, and I want to get a second card out here. So red jasper, healthy boundaries. I done said it. Don't let anybody mess with you. Okay, you're not a bad person for standing up for yourself or getting clarification from someone. Okay, and if people want to bash you because you try to stand up for yourself, or they try to tell you, oh my God, why are you so sensitive? Why are you sticking your nose in? I'm still baffled that woman on Facebook even bothered. Like, why are you talking right now? I know that sounds harsh, but I don't look. I don't care. I don't care. So don't let people do that to you guys. Okay. You have a right to say what you need to say. Okay. One more shuffle. Bonus card for this week is dun da da da. Ooh. Crook white. I'm starting to look up how to pronounce these. This is sexuality. So this has to do with that sacral chakra, that place of creativity, you know, kind of the idea of rewriting your story. And it could be with sexuality. Maybe you're dealing with something like that this week. I ain't going there, okay? But like, you figure that out on your own. But this is all about, you know, that creative life force. And we were kind of talking about children who do get victimized and how we're not really protecting them enough. And there is sexual abuse happening. Okay. So maybe there will be something about that, you know, even it's already kind of happening, but, you know, coming to the forefront even more. And maybe we're starting to have a nice heart-to-heart conversation about how can we be better to be good to one another, to protect the vulnerable, to look out for our brothers and sisters. We need to amp that up. That's also creativity. So that in combination with the writing in the journal, you might find that something really gets born of that and from your realizations. Okay, so we're going to end it there. This is the longest video ever. As always, I am sending you so much love. Take care.